And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 10th episode of the Finish Line Formula podcast. We're joined by 75% or 3/4 of the NOOSA Marathon boys. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the FLF podcast, the 10th episode, 10 down. Who knows how many more to go. For those who are listening, my name's Nick. I'll let the others introduce themselves before we get into it.
My name's Cameron.
And my name is Sean.
Fantastic. We've got a weird show for you today. We don't really have a set agenda on what we want to talk about. So it might just be a whole bunch of waffle. But quick announcements. Week 9 almost done. Long run tomorrow as per usual. Podcast availability. YouTube. Spotify. Apple Podcast. Will's missing. Where's he gone? He's at the Formula One. He prefers pleasure over business. We all the people here prefer business than pleasure. Anyway.
Roasted. You tell him.
I wouldn't say that's roasted. But...
I'm joking. Take that, Will. How dare you have fun?
How dare you have fun without us, without an invite?
I know.
Anyway,
where was the invite?
Who's going to give us the breakdown of the week? The quick breakdown. Was it Sean or Cam? Who was going through it?
I can take it away.
Take it away. I'm going to quickly exit stage left and get my laptop. So you just keep yarning until I'm back.
Yep. So Sunday, longest run that I have ever done, which was a nice 32 Ks. I know Nick doesn't like it when we talk about paces, but my split progression over that 32 Ks was absolutely beautiful, starting at a 6:30, finishing at a 4:20. So take that, Nick.
Oh, he's going into details.
Monday, we had a nice recovery 10 kilometers. Tuesday, a long 23 Ks, which since when have we started doing long runs during the week? No, Tuesday 10 Ks, Wednesday 23 Ks, Thursday 10 Ks, Friday rest. Today, another recovery 10, and tomorrow we've got 26 Ks with 19 at marathon pace.
Let's go. Big week. Same with me.
Yeah.
So Sunday wrapped up 32 Ks. Monday, that was a bit of progression in there as per usual. Monday, recovery. Tuesday was a double. So that means 10 Ks in the morning, 6 kilometers in the evening. Wednesday was a massive 24 kilometers in the morning. Thursday, 10 kilometers easy. Friday was another big 21 kilometers. And then this morning had 11 Ks with 10 100-meter strides. And then we're looking at 26 tomorrow, bit of a shorter one with 19 kilometers at marathon pace, which should be good fitness indicator. I'm not sure about you, Sean and Cam, but I'm fatigued. I'm at probably 90% of my limit at the moment. So I'm definitely feeling it.
Your volume is a lot more than ours this week. So we had 3 recovery runs. So I'm not feeling too bad, but it is weird now being at a point where the week's not over and we've done 50 Ks and it doesn't feel like I've done much running this week.
Yeah, well, I guess in terms of that, like volume, in terms of how many kilometers I'm running, is definitely more, but relative to your level in this type of game would be on par. I guess that's the whole point of these having two different programs, is we're relatively on the same volume based on our experience. But yeah, my residual fatigue is up through the roof. I'm not sure. I'm actually keen to get one of those wearables. I'm waiting for one of those brands to reach out to me and to us and be like, "Oh, we want you to wear XYZ wearable," because I want to see how poor my results would be, or good. I don't know, one of the two.
Well, I think this week I'm kind of high on my own supply because I've been putting in some like monster recovery runs as far as cardio progression's going. So I'm just loving it at the moment.
The Mara pack, smoking that Mara pack. Cam's just back there. Well, I'm waiting for the ad libs.
Sorry, Cam.
Whip it a whip.
Which good segue. At some point, Will's got to cut this in, but we did just have about a 30-minute debrief because Cam's a little bit injured at the moment, and we're just talking through what his road to recovery looks like, and hopefully he can be back on track at our program volume in a week and a half.
And there's no excuse for him not to get to the finish line as well. Thoughts on it? Thoughts on that, Cam, before we get into our little discussion there?
Yeah, I mean, as you'll hear after in the segments after this one, nothing's changed. It's just learning how to adapt to reality, which is overcoming this injury and figuring out either how to keep my cardio fitness without putting stress on my hip, or figuring out how to get recovered quick enough that I can then basically pick up where I left off. But as far as crossing the finish line or adjusting my goal at this point, none of that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, I'm going to achieve those things. Nothing changes.
Yeah, that's it. That's the attitude we want. That's the fucking attitude we want.
Finish line formula. Yeah.
Cut to the discussion. The lights go green, so I start running again. I couldn't actually run.
Yeah.
It's like my leg froze. And
well, I had ITBS like before, to the point where even during this week, for whatever reason, it's been getting a lot worse. Like 2 nights ago, I had to take a painkiller to go to sleep because my right hip was just that painful. Like it gets to the point where I can't actually lie down and straighten my leg.
Shit with
that. And so, yeah, I don't know, like, obviously it seems as though the two are related because it's the same area. But yeah, at this point, I've just walked in the door. But as I said to Sean when I called him, like, regardless of if I've done any runs or anything, like, I if I can make it, I would obviously still like to make the podcast because I've committed to it. But it's at this point, it's like I've just worked, so I'm gonna call my physio after this, and maybe go and get a hip scan or something like that.
Yeah, like usually, I'm just trying to think. Usually, if you haven't got a diagnosis, that's a bit weird. Usually, you can diagnose it.
Well, I think he just thought it was a flare up. Like, I don't think it was like a particular thing. It was just flare up. And he could have diagnosed me, and I'm just not. I just don't remember it. There's this shit on my arm. But yeah, I mean, I'll message him and I'll get the technical breakdown to then forward on to you to get what you think.
Because sometimes, I don't know, I've noticed that some physios, you have to like explicitly ask them, be like, "What do you think it is?" Because they're a bit apprehensive about giving you a diagnosis and it's not it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was more focused on kind of like, here is what you're doing wrong that's led to why this is happening, and now this is how we're going to treat it and fix it. So he could
Yeah.
have given it like a technical name, but it's very realistic that I've just forgotten because it doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, true.
Does he do dry needling? I'm not sure if it'll work in the hips, but
Yeah, I asked him about it, and he said it helps, but my problem's not muscle.
okay.
What did you say it was?
I'll get the breakdown and I'll send it to you. I've just been focused on doing I just do what I'm told. I'm a simple man. Physio or
Fair
coach
enough.
tells me to do something, I do it.
Well, in terms of, I guess if you're like me, you've probably thought, oh shit, I might not be able to make the marathon. Look, 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off now, you're still in
Okay,
shape.
that's good
Like
to know.
what's the longest run you've done so far?
28,
Hmm.
26, 28.
Yeah,
And I
so
ran
you
it at
probably
a
just
sub
need
5.
sub 5.
Yeah, ran a 26 at a sub 5. It's my PB now. I broke 4 PBs just on that run.
Oh shit.
It was a few
Oh,
weeks ago
shit.
when Will. It was a few weeks ago when Will also ran his PB, and
So
that
you
was, I
probably,
think
well,
it was the week before the deload week. So what was that? 2-3 weeks ago.
yeah. Because I'd
So I
say
was feeling confident,
the only other thing
and
is
then
just thinking about it, that was probably too fast.
no, but yeah, I think we were meant to be doing. I think it was like 16K at a marathon pace, and then I just felt good, so I just kept going. But
Yeah, as
I
your
mean, it was
coach,
faster than what the program was saying. But I
as your
felt
coach,
good.
yeah. How do you feel now?
Touche. Touche. Well, I've never been injured before, so I don't know.
And
I think
that's
you think that you're invincible until you're not.
well, that's actually good because in the podcast I did with my mates, I did say to people, I'm like, go get injured. Like, you can talk about prehab and all this stuff, but until you get
Yeah.
injured, you don't know what's going on. And you just kind of,
Yeah.
you're like you're saying, you think you're invincible. So I did
Yeah.
give the advice of you can do the whole prehab thing. And I was like, wait a second. No, that's probably bad advice because you're not going to listen to it. I was like, go get injured first and then go through the whole process of
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah. Well, I'll message. I'll message the physio. I'll get his what he actually thinks it is, and I'll say that it's because he actually wanted to talk to you.
Me,
But I just said like, yeah, just because
Jesus.
he's a run coach as well. And I gave him a look at the program, and like he said, it was great. Like it's a really good program, but he's like, just if there's any, like if there is any benefit in me talking to your run coach about what specifically is going on with you, so that he can maybe take it into account, then he's like, I'm more than happy to talk to him. And I said, at this stage, I don't think it's worthwhile, but I'll let him know, and we can go from there.
Does he know I'm not an actual
I told him,
like I'm not
yeah,
a
no, he knows.
like I'm not a proper
Yeah.
like I put this together off a whim.
No, I gave him the full rundown, and I showed him your video, and he said that he had seen it on his story. So yeah, he's well aware of who you are.
Oh, like I've got obviously I've got qualifications, but I'm not like a proper run coach in terms of I'm not going through your programs each week and going, okay, well let's change this and this.
No, I explained.
Um,
Yeah, I explained it all to him. He's well aware, but and that's why I said to him, I'm like, the adjustments in the program are probably what he reckons, not necessarily what you guys reckon from talking to each other.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that we stay on the program because that's what we're all doing. So by him talking to you, obviously that's not going to adjust the program because it's more about, okay, well, how do I get well enough to then get onto the program again?
Well, the thing
not
is,
necessarily
even
how can we change the program
this,
to suit me better.
yeah, this close to the thing, you probably wouldn't even get back onto the full program before taper anyway.
Yeah, right. Anyway,
Like let's say you get back in a week or 2 weeks. I'd probably want to see at least one 32K run.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was talking to a girl at my gym, that she said that she had a very similar pain in her hip. So she trained and ran a marathon and then took 2 months off and then tried to do, I think it was like a 30K or something like that. And she said that she had a very similar pain in her hip where she basically couldn't walk without limping. And she went to the doctor and she had like a fracture in her hip or something like that. And
fracture.
she was on crutches for like 4 weeks.
Fracture.
A fracture.
Something like that. Something like
Jesus.
that. So I'm gonna talk to the physio, but just to cover my bases, I'll probably go and get an X-ray to make sure there's nothing more serious happening.
Yeah. Look, if you got the time and like back nowadays, I'd wait till the physio. This is me personally. Nowadays, I would wait for the physio to go get a scan. But obviously, back when I was diving, everything was time. So they'd try and in one swoop get or diagnosis off the table, if that makes sense.
No, I'll talk to the physio first, but I'm assuming that he's going to get back to me this weekend, and then I can book in next week.
Yeah,
if he thinks it's worthwhile.
Yeah. Dick.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. No, it's I'm proper bummed about it, but it's live and you learn.
No, like this is the good thing about how do I put this? This is the good thing about getting injured because it's easier to stay motivated when you're on the program and everything's going well.
Yeah.
Versus when you're injured and you see everyone else doing everything, you kind of feel a bit bummed, as you're saying. Pause.
Yeah. No, we'll see. As I said, I think we've got what needs to happen from here. I'm going to talk to my physio. If he thinks it's worthwhile, I'll go get a scan. Otherwise, I'll go in and see him and see if maybe it is something more serious that he can help me with or diagnose me with or whatever it is. And yeah, there's not really I think the main thing is like just being what I thought was overly cautious by taking a week off and then getting back on running and just being no better than I was a week ago. Like it felt exactly the same as when I did the 6K last week.
For me, when something like that happens, you kind of that's when you like that's when it's like more serious, I believe.
I would assume so, yeah. Which is the thing that's more scaring me. But yeah, as I said,
fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm committed to doing whatever. Like in my head, like the goal doesn't change. Like America wasn't going to change it. This injury isn't going to change it. It's just obviously as you said, learning how to adapt and then overcome. So that's all we can do.
Just how many weeks? I'm just having a look now. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
9
8
weeks.
9.
Yeah.
So let's say you've got
for 2 of those.
So let's say that's fine. So
I mean,
let's
to be fair,
go, Sean,
I was just gonna say
because I'm going through the program.
Yeah, that's all good. It's a slightly different injury, but when I had my shin splints, about whenever that happened, it did take about 2.5 weeks. So hopefully it is just similar for you, where I'm pretty sure I took 4 or 5 days off, tried to run, and it was just ridiculous. Like the pain hadn't gone away. Took another 2-3 days off and then tried to run again, and it was definitely better. Perhaps it's just doing that after a week, going back into the motion of trying to run. It's still a bit sore, but then maybe it'll help with the healing process. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I'm going to, as I said last week, I think I'm going to talk to the physio, and especially if I'm going to be taking a prolonged period off, I think I'm going to talk to him about the replacements and cross training and seeing what I can do to make sure that my cardio at least is still okay, whether that's swimming or biking or whatever that may be. Because it seems to just be the impact of running that flares it up. Not that I have tried being on a bike or anything like that, but Yeah, I think that'll, if I am going to take that time off, I think I'm just going to supplement the runs with equivalent cardio workouts,
Can you
depending on what the physio recommends.
weight bear without pain on a single
Can
leg?
I what?
Weight bear.
Oh, like put weight on my leg?
Yeah.
Not really. Like if like putting on my pants, I've had to start basically sitting on the bed, because obviously when you're doing one leg at a time, when I'm on my right leg, it basically starts to like buckle and hurt at the hip
Does
when
it
I'm
hurt
leaning on it.
when you bend your knee?
No.
So it doesn't hurt to bend the knee. What part,
That's
like what movement at the hip hurts it? Like, or are you saying you've got to have weight
just
on it?
putting weight. Yeah, just putting weight on it. The actual movements don't hurt. It's just when it has weight on it.
So you could do a leg swing and that wouldn't hurt.
I was doing leg swings to warm up.
Yeah, okay. That makes it okay. Like I don't know where I'm going with that, but like that's obviously
Yeah, what does it make it? That makes it better. That makes it worse. What does
that
it
makes
make
it
it?
ouchy.
It makes it sore when you put weight on it. Yeah.
That
Well, no,
makes it a
it's
hip.
it is a distinguishing factor because then it's you'd probably like a physio would be able to cancel out injuries based on that.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. No, he was like when I went in to go and see him, he was testing my like the range of motion in my hip and leg and stuff like that, and like I told him when it was painful and when it wasn't, so he's aware of what hurts my hip and what doesn't.
So does it hurt deep? Like, does it hurt inside, or does it hurt? Like, could you actually push on the pain?
It's like, for the viewers, I'm not going to stand up properly in case someone does actually watch this. But if this is my hip here, that's my hip there. It's like right in here, or it's like in, kind of hard to tell, I guess, but
Where your thumb is, or
where my thumb is. So like right there. Here.
Oh,
This
that
is
could
like
be.
there,
right
and
on
then
the stop.
in there.
Is it feel like it's inside, or
That
like
area.
you're pushing on it?
It's like I'm pushing the area where it is, but it's like
Yeah.
it's deeper than where I can. It's deeper than where I can. Well, it's like on and deeper where I can push. Like what I'm
Yeah.
pushing
Is
is
that
pushing
hip
what
flexors?
hurts, if that makes sense.
What was that?
What I'm
Saying,
pushing is pushing what it hurts. If
What'd
that
you
makes
say,
sense.
Sean?
I was gonna say it kind of. I'm not a physio, but that kind of looks like some very tight hip flexors, maybe, or even the
Yeah.
ligament there. Because like
Yeah,
if it was
no.
socket, you would think that you cannot push into it because that's quite a deep injury.
Yeah, socket. Like I was going to say, could it be labrum tear? I think it's labrum, which is like the hip, which is that like I guess thing that covers the joint, whereas hip flexor is deep. If you have a look, it's deep to the. If you look at a photo of it, it's deep, so it's inside that hip complex, and it attaches to the back, but it also attaches to the hip and your glute. Was he telling you your glutes were weak?
Yes.
Yeah, like it. Look, find out what he says, because obviously, like what I like to find out is one, is it muscle or is it bone? It's hard to, I guess, diagnose bone without a scan. But if he goes, yeah, it's definitely not bone, that's a good sign. If he goes, it's muscle, that's better because it means it's
Yeah.
like it's.
Well, put it this way, if he, from what I like recall, and then kind of using logic of what he said, if it was bone, he wouldn't have me doing stretches.
Yeah, that's good.
And he,
Yeah, I wonder what he
that
thinks
was the
it is
main
then.
thing that he. Yeah, I'll get, as I said, like he could have told me and I've just forgotten because it's like it doesn't mean anything. But Yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it to him when I talk to him later.
I'm not sure
And
if Big Will is gonna be editing this tonight, but what do you say are the odds that Mr. William gets his long run done now that he's down to Melbourne living it up at the F1?
What does an
surely,
F1 day look like? Like when he's done it in the past? Is it something that you're getting home pretty late?
nah.
No,
No,
because the
because
race
it's
finishes
all
pretty
in
early,
the
isn't it?
afternoon. Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's more just the living it
I
up in
reckon he'll do
Melbourne, enjoying all that Melbourne has to offer. I'd love to see because he was injured this week, wasn't he?
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was saying he
He
wasn't
took a
feeling great.
couple. He's taken about 5-6 days off now, but surely
Oh, really?
he'll be back.
I didn't realize it was
Yeah.
that serious. I thought he was still running.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe he hasn't run because he hasn't had time.
Yeah. Well, when I'm not posting runs on Strava, I'm considerably less on Strava, so I haven't really been seeing everyone's runs.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm the same though. I'm the same as you,
Well-
Cam. I try not to be active on it. Usually Monday when I don't have a run at all, I'm not on it. So that's why I don't like anyone's posts.
Well, hopefully, Will and Cam will be back at it as soon as possible.
Wait a
Yeah.
second. No, he did unofficial yesterday. He did unofficial
yeah.
run
Oh,
club
yeah,
yesterday,
yeah.
but
He spoke to my
He did-
cousin.
he did say to me, who's your Phillips,
Yeah.
but we'll blur out the name. What the hell was she doing at unofficial?
Doing the official run club. What do you
Running.
mean?
Assumably.
What the fuck was she doing?
What would you do at a run club? That's fucking so ridiculous.
Anyway, I guess we get into today's discussion. We don't really have any. This might be a better podcast to listen to when you're just zoning out because we don't really have a set agenda. We were meant to have a physio on, so I think we teased that last week, and that's kind of fallen through. But we've got some other things lined up in terms of we're going to get a physio on. We just don't know when. That's what happens when you start a podcast and you've got to show up every week and no one likes you. Anyway,
Sounded like an
so
F1 car.
so I guess the topic we're going to go talk about are long runs. Now, they're to me in a marathon block the most important run of the week. Not to the extent where if you had to run one run a week, you'd only do 32 kilometers on a Sunday and then not do anything else for 6 days. I have heard someone try and do that and it didn't end well for them. So we're not recommending that. But in a training plan, if you're to prioritize one run, it would be the long run on Saturday or Sunday or whenever you do it. And I'm not sure how the boys think about that. If they've found any adaptations, I guess, week on week with their increase. I think it's pretty good to see them because when Sean and Cam, how short was your first long run? Like where have you come from
let me
now, and
check.
then where are you at?
Let me check.
Maybe 12, 14?
So
At the beginning of this
our first long run that we did was 10Ks. And I remember thinking that was long.
Yeah. That's so funny to look back on. I remember finishing 10Ks and actually like my legs hurt. Like I would sit down and then stand up and like my legs would hurt after 10Ks. Now 10Ks, we look at it in the middle of the week and it's like, nah, it's nothing.
I was saying this to Erica when you and I were doing a undisclosed run club in Brisbane. I remember us going to the West End markets afterwards and walking around going, God, my knees hurt. And that was just a 10K run.
Yeah. I think another thing long runs have been really good for is, like, I don't know about you guys, but I spend a lot of time for work on my computer.
Just a heads
and
up.
I'm,
Hey Cam, just a heads up. Your thing's cutting in and out.
hold on.
Hold
I'll
up.
switch.
Hey.
Okay, how's that?
That's a bit better.
Yeah, it's better.
Okay.
I like that.
What I was saying was something that I've really come to enjoy with proper long runs. Like, not saying that 10Ks isn't a long run, but I think 10 and beyond is, I don't know about you guys, but I spend a lot of time on my computer or in the afternoons, maybe watching some Netflix or on my phone. And so constantly being entertained. And something that has been really good with long runs is actually learning how to do the same thing, be in that kind of mild discomfort and have that disconnection in your brain of being like, I'm not going to think about how far I'm running or how long this is going to take or that I'm bored or whatever it may be. I'm just going to kind of turn my brain off and just use this as almost time to meditate in a sense. And as the runs have got longer and longer, and obviously we've come up with almost 3-hour runs at this point, I've found that muscle in my brain getting a little bit stronger and the runs becoming more and more therapeutic as we've gone through.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's one of the benefits of, I guess, people don't, when they initially start running, they don't get this benefit that I'm about to talk about. But having the ability to run for an extended period of time where you are able to, I guess, shut off your brain, once you're able to get to that stage with running, that's when I think that's when it becomes enjoyable. Because I'm not going to lie, when you're doing 20-minute runs at the start there, unless you got people you're doing it with, it's boring. It's mundane. It's not fun. Whereas when you start running 1 hour, 2 hours, and as you're leading into a marathon, maybe 3 hours plus, you definitely do get those runs where you've just kind of in the zone, switch off. Like I've said previously, I don't listen to music on runs, but it gives me a chance to go through whatever topic or thought process or issue that's going on in my life and kind of run through scenarios. And yeah, I find it very, like you're saying, Cam, therapeutic. So yeah, that's, I guess, a one non-physical / performance benefit.
The other really cool thing that you get to experience over a long enough period of time is, again, going from that 10, 12, 14, 16K long runs and at the start them feeling like a slog and having to run them slow. But then 6 months down the track, we're doing 32Ks, 26, 28. And where I run, at least, I do a 7K loop, and just so I can have hydration and nutrition without having to carry everything. And each loop actually going faster every single time and starting out nice and slow, and then suddenly the last 7Ks you're averaging a 450 or 440 and your final K is a 420, and going, Jesus, like the thought of even being able to do that in the beginning was just non-existent.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think where we could take this in terms of in terms of the running side of things. Like, you want long runs to, and I'll get the science bit up in a second. I'll let the boys talk. But in terms of long runs, you want them to be sitting at about 74 to 84% of maximal heart rate. And if I'm not mistaken, what zone would that be? 74.
It's like zone 2 to zone 3.
Yeah, heart rate zones. And that's only because in this marathon block we're doing, all our long runs are meant to be progressed. And what that means is you do like the first 10, let's say you got a 20-kilometer run, the first 50% or 10 kilometers would be at zone 2 pace, keeping the heart rate low. And then the next 10 kilometers, we would slowly bring that pace down to within 10 to 20% slower than what your marathon pace is. And I guess that's in terms of race day, that's so you have that ability to pick up when your legs are fatigued. So the end of the run. And then it also, how do I explain this? When those runs get over, I guess, the 24 kilometers, it'll also help you. Like I'm saying, there'll be a time in the marathon where your pace is dropping off, or you don't think you can hold that pace, and it's also a mental thing knowing that you're able to, back in those training runs where you're able to pick up where you would normally stay at that pace to maintain, I guess, form and control of what you're doing. So pushing that week on week over an extended period of time helps you on race day become a better, I guess, finisher. And what's the name of the podcast?
And a question, I do have a question on the long runs, which is for us, and I think for you as well. We cap out at a long run at 32 Ks, but marathon distance is 42.2. And why is it that if you're training for a particular race, you tend to not run close to that distance at all during the block?
Well, it depends where you're at. For example, taking me for example, I have a 3-hour run in 2 weeks' time, and that will get me close to 39 kilometers. So that's 3 kilometers off a marathon. You guys are running at the tops of 32 Ks, but if you look at the equivalent, that 32 Ks in terms of time on legs, that would be almost the equivalent to you running the same time as as you would on race day, because obviously you're running at a faster pace on race day. So why don't you do the entire 42? Well, it's simple. It's a simple answer, and that simple answer is, one, if you ran 42 Ks in the training block, you're going to have a massive amount of fatigue that you'd be carrying over. Like if you have a look at any marathon race day, you're going to be fatigued for 5-7 business days.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Not just days, business days.
Yeah.
Wow. That's hilarious. It just skips
9
the
to 5,
weekend.
Nick.
Wow. That's actually
Do it on a Sunday.
hilarious.
That's what Nick's saying, because if you did it on a Wednesday, then the weekend doesn't count for recovery.
Well, technically that's true. Like the when you do a marathon, you feel all right, and then the day after, you feel like shit. So maybe it is 5 to 7 business days. That's actually really funny. Yeah, so it takes about 5 to 7 days to feel a bit normal post marathon. So imagine if you did that in the training. Imagine if you did 42 Ks in the training plan, you'd be fatigued for 3 to 7 days after that, which means you would jeopardize the rest of your training. And at the end of the day, the goal is to be, I guess it's the law of diminishing returns. Is yes, you could run 42 Ks in a training block, but would the benefits of running 32 and being able to run the next day outweigh taking 3 days off? So is missing 3 sessions following running 42 Ks worth actually running 42 Ks? So I found it not to be. There's a point where you are fast enough where you can run 2 hours 30 and you'd be running 42 Ks and you have to be, and that's when you get up into those elite echelons of running. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that, I guess, subpar discussion on Cam's injury and then long runs. We couldn't actually find what we wanted to talk about. But look, this is probably going to be the worst episode you listen to, but I'm glad we're putting it out there because it can only go up from here. We're like, we're looking like the crypto, what do you call it? Graph at the moment, up and down.
Great analogy.
At least we're
Really relatable. We're a meme coin with Shiba Inu.
Anyway, we just want to thank the listeners. If you've gotten to this stage where we're actually thanking you, we do genuinely thank you for listening, because if it was me, I would have turned off by now. Anyway, I guess our socials, go follow us on Finish Line Formula on TikTok, even though we haven't posted something on TikTok, and then Instagram as well. Finally, you know where to find us: podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. You can follow our individual socials, links below, and then don't forget to subscribe and rate the podcast. Look, we're definitely getting some 1 stars after this episode, not going to lie. And also, usually we go share this with your friends if they would enjoy this episode. But look, this episode, share them with your friends if you reckon this is a shit episode. So, yeah, this is probably the most lively the episode. Maybe like, I don't know how they're going to spin this. Most people won't get to this point. So whatever we say now, I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Also,
let's get out of here.
Quick tip of the week. If don't wear nylon socks, because apparently it's bad for your hormones.
All right, let's leave it there.
That's it.
Let's leave it there.
See you next week. Peace.
Bye.